Hello friends and welcome to the worst episode of The Rings of Power yet, a high-budget fantasy fan fiction packed with a whole lot of nothing, brought to you by the only two showrunners in the world that Amazon could find, Neo and Trinity, who put way more direction into their forward stepping during magazine shoots than they do actually directing. One of the most important cinematic undertakings of all time, no big deal, right? Promised us that this week things would be different, that the next episodes were going to pick up in quality, and finally, after all of this time, entertain us 7 episodes in. Well, it turns out they lied. Wah wah. This episode has even slower pacing and is even more uneventful than any episode that came before, and by the time it was over, I was ready to stand in hot lava, splash damage, and accept my fate. Unlike Galadriel, who can survive any encounter ever, including taking lava to the face like a moron. But I'm not here to discourage you. No, the time for suffering has passed. I have already sat through the full hour and 12 minutes of the 7th episode and felt that disappointment pass right through me. I know. Thank you, my newfound friends. Let us celebrate my masochist torture session with this woke fest together. After my initial and repeat viewing, I have some concerns to discuss. Starting with the biggest and most glaring issue, Galadriel's husband, Celeborn. Do you remember how Sauron killed Galadriel's brother Finrod? Well, guess what? Sauron killed Celeborn too. Yay! That's right. Galadriel's husband from the books. Would have been nice if Galadriel had mentioned that in episode 1 during her intro monologue, or perhaps when she mentioned it to Sauron, Halbrand, in episode 5, but according to J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, the only thing that exists in their master plan is Sauradriel shipping, and if that means killing Celeborn to make that happen so that she can get jiggy with Sauron, then they're gonna do it, darn it! Also at the beginning, which was so laughably absurd, I almost spit out my drink through my nose because Galadriel, torturer of orc babies, walks through the ash and completely ignores the desperate wails from normal citizens passing literally right by her and calls only for Halbrand. She's finally forced to lift a finger when Theo gets right in her face and says, "I need help," and Galadriel's just like, Halbrand, fine, just stop yelling, kid, stop yelling, I'll help you. What a despicable thing to do, to take one of the most important aspects of Galadriel's life and rewrite it so heavily, blatantly, and toss it together with lazy dialogue passively to the people watching that actually believe in this show's potential. It's ridiculous. And my husband. Lazy and pathetic writing. Let's tell the audience this so they'll stop making videos about us. And next scene. The Rings of Power is butchering everything anyone has ever loved about the Lord of the Rings, and Jeff Bezos is probably rolling around in money laughing at us all right now, but it's only a matter of time. After watching the show every week and reading article after article, making up ridiculous rationalizations for its failure, and listening to how the showrunners and the media react to endless and obvious backlash, the one thing that has been made clear to me, painfully so, is that Amazon hates you. They hate me, and they hate The Lord of the Rings, but they have never hated a fan base more than the Tolkien fans. The writing? Slow, full of so much physical pain. The direction? Crap, it's some of the most uninspired direction and camera work ever. To be honest, the entire thing feels like a bunch of deleted scenes thrown together from the previous episodes, and the pacing is a drag, and yet it ends too quickly while showing us or teaching us absolutely nothing. And this is because J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are very bad at telling stories. You see, the show is filmed like someone who's watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson, and they tried to emulate exactly that. The problem is that they expect everyone else to know the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson films as well, so that they don't have to try too hard in building upon Middle-earth's history. Oh, yeah, and most of the time, everyone's just standing around, saying and doing nothing, waiting for the next story beat to bounce by. And if you haven't fallen asleep by the time all the twists come around, such as Elrond revealing to Durin that during their rock-smashing competition, he was only pretending to be tired. What a big, shocking reveal. Oh no, he just wanted to spend some more time with him. Yeah, you'll be like, so that was his plan all along? Okay. I mean, there is that father-son drama between Durin and his father, the king, that ultimately leaves Durin stripped of his title by the end, which I thought was alright compared to the rest of it, but the scene is bogged down by that really weak reasoning behind it, as his dad, the king, wants to let the elves just die and not let them rub crystals on their skin. How could you be so heartless? This is not at all helped by Disa, who fuels the flames and calls Durin's dad an incompetent leader. But wait! There's more, because you'll also discover that you know nothing about the characters after the episode is over, because there's absolutely no backstory to many of them, so it's impossible to care about or resonate with them, like the stranger who's been pulling cart duty the whole series, or the priests who shoot fire at carriages and huts and they don't speak either, they just kind of point at things. Nori, who is the biggest idiot ever, just jumps out of hiding while the evil priests are walking away from the village and is like, "Hey, he went that way, you're wrong, look at me dancing here like a little fool." They just look at her and they're all like whoosh and set their villages and their huts on fire. The Queen Regent, who made a terrible decision to travel to the Southlands nearly unprotected, goes blind from evil fire and says, "Pretend that I'm not blind. I don't want to freak anyone out, okay? Just keep going and pretend like everything's fine. Yep, just keep writing, everything's fine. Shh, don't give it away." And then vows to bring back her entire army. Next time. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get plenty of action, Queen Regent Muriel, right after you tell us why Adar couldn't have just broken the dam with a couple of mallets.
You just don't understand. The writing is very complex, and you are like attacking Amazon right now.
You see, to streaming platforms like Amazon, a beloved book series like The Lord of the Rings is expendable, and so are you, the fans. The title alone gets them viewership, which gets them money. They ignore criticism, hide reviews on their platform, throw actors under the bus in interviews, call us racists, misogynists, snowflakes, bigots, short-sighted losers, right-wing terrorists, haters of women, haters of The Lord of the Rings, haters of inclusiveness, haters of diversity, and even oppressors sometimes. Why? 1, they're pushing a woke agenda and hate that you, the viewer, caught on. And 2, they're even more mad that they're now being called out for it. I say keep calling them out because everyone's starting to pay attention. I do hope they get angry, and I don't care. But I do hope that you all have a beautiful day. Like and share this video, subscribe, and click that notification bell, and I will see you all next time.